Wait, hold up on the next one for just a moment. Folks, what I'm going to show you now is startling. It's the first time anybody in the world has ever seen it. Anybody? It's probably the most dangerous thing I've ever done, what I'm going to do now. Dealey Plaza in Dallas, Texas is on the 33rd parallel. It is in the shape of a pyramid, the eye being the underpass going under the railroad bridge. In Dealey Plaza are the four quarters of a Celtic temple and an obelisk dedicated to the location of the first Masonic Lodge in Texas. It is an outdoor pagan Masonic temple of the Scottish Rite. The first and only Catholic president in a Freemason founded and controlled country. He was shot in the back, in the throat, and in the head, the exact same wounds suffered by Hiram Abiff in the Masonic initiation. With one blow, the Scottish Rite and Freemasonry destroyed the political will of the American people, struck a serious blow to the Catholic Church, and crippled our country. And what you're going to see here is the first time that anyone has ever acknowledged that. They never show you what's in Dealey Plaza, and I didn't know myself until I went. And after all my research, I went to Dealey Plaza, and I was standing in the middle of a pagan temple, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, and tears came in my eyes.
At the 33rd degree, right down the world.
That's correct. If you look into history, you'll find that many, many famous assassinations have occurred on the 33rd degree. The 33rd parallel is a symbolic number of Freemasonry. It means the completion of the great work. Some more step toward the completion of the great work. Okay, will you roll the tape, please? Could you dim the house lights, please? Thank you. You see Dealey Plaza, the obelisk where Kennedy was shot, the 6th floor window is a perfect triangle. Also, where Oswald was shot is another triangle. You can see the four quarters of the Celtic temple, which indicates the Scottish Rite. That's the grassy knoll. We rented a helicopter and did a flyover. That's the grassy knoll there. That's the railroad yard behind. This is the corner of Main and Houston. Kennedy came down Main, turned right, and went that way on Houston Street. They were supposed to go directly down Main Street through the center of the triangle, but the 33rd parallel is up on the hill. 33rd, 3-3-6, 6th floor window. And there's another combination of 2 3s which makes the third 6. There's the obelisk, the penis of Osiris, crowned with a flame representing the light or Lucifer. It also represents knowledge, the intellect, primordial knowing. We never showed anybody this in television or in the movies ever. They don't talk about it in books.
And this 5-pointed star of top?
No, that was a flame. First Fraternal Lodge. We called the Historical Society to make sure that it was the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. The plaza is named after a man named Dealey, who was a prominent Freemason in the city of Dallas. John F. Kennedy was the sacrificed king. His blood was spilled on the altar of an outdoor temple. Why noon? highest point has its greatest power at noon. It's ironic that the symbol of Lucifer, the eternal light, has been placed upon the dead king's grave. What a victory! Who are the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry? They are the Knights Templars, the world's first international bankers, and they are still the world's international bankers. They never lost a penny of it. The King of France, we rounded up the Templars in France and didn't get a penny. And that, folks, is where Lee Harvey Oswald was shot. They never told us that that was in Dealey Plaza either. All sacrifices must be performed in the temple. That's the old Dallas courthouse. And on the roof you will see the symbol of the Brotherhood of the Dragon. Now, I assure you, I did not build Dealey Plaza just to come here and show you this hill. But someone will accuse me of that. Right, Eustace? This is the reflecting pool. And you see the pyramid beneath the pyramid, the positive and the negative. And at that time of day, I was standing in direct line with the obelisk and the 6th floor window, and the reflection points directly to the 6th floor window. It was amazing to watch all these people walking around there not understanding what it was that they were staring at. You see how arrogant these people are? Their arrogance is overwhelming. They have no fear of us. But this may make them think twice for a little while. This is behind the grassy knoll. I can guarantee you Kennedy was not shot from behind the grassy knoll. I've stood at that fence and watched the cars go by. This is the worst place an assassin could ever choose. Especially as they all describe the man back there having a scope on his rifle. Now, if you're a marksman and you realize how close that road is to the fence, and you try to shoot somebody coming from left to right, directly across in front of you, that close, using a scope, and you tell me that you're a good assassin or a marksman, and I'll tell you you're out of your mind. But somebody was back there making noise like a gun. I don't know if it's firecrackers, or bullets, or blanks, or what. But whoever was behind that knoll making the noise was not the person who was to kill Kennedy, or that killed him, as you will see. This is from the corner. All kinds of things. You know, they all show us the grassy knoll and tell us there was a gunman up there, but they never take you behind the grassy knoll with a camera to show you how impossible it is to kill a president from that position. But that's what they want us to believe, because we'll never get at the real answer if we don't, or if we do. And remember, on the day Kennedy was shot, there was people all over there. All over there, just like them. Probably more people. Grassy knoll theory's a fraud. We found these two storm drains look out of, so we looked out the one on the left. It's certainly a better position than the grassy knoll. The one on the right would have been much better. And down below and the one on the right, both connected by a big culvert between the two, is a manhole cover that disappears into the sewage system of the city. We know that some shots came from the front. And we don't even know if that's the place. We just know that the grassy knoll is an insane place where an assassin can attempt to shoot someone if he wants to be successful. This is from the abutment. You can see that that's no place. Really, the only good place is up on the bridge. A better place would have been on top of the railroad cars that were parked on the railroad tracks up on the bridge, firing with high-powered rifles directly at Kennedy as he came toward them with silencers on the rifles. And that's where they found the three tramps, one of whom we know was Howard Hunt. We found those three tramps in the railroad cars. See, we're still in the abutment. We're not even up on the bridge yet. The shot gets better all the time. Now we're on the bridge. Still got a sign in the way. See, folks, there was no exit wound for the throat wound. No exit. The doctors probed the hole in the back, said it only went in a half an inch and stopped, which means it was probably made later to fulfill the wound in the back, throat, and the head. They tried to disguise the throat wound by cutting a tracheotomy and scarring it all up, and it was never probed, but we know that the back wound never went anywhere. That's a perfect shot, whether it's from laying down, firing through the balustrade, or from the top of one of the boxcars on the railroad tracks. But we still don't really know. And maybe we never will. And it's not important at all when you understand the organization was the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. They also founded the Ku Klux Klan. And Kennedy was in the process of granting equal civil rights to blacks in America. Aside from the fact that he was Catholic, and he was striking at the bankers even more because he was printing United States notes non-interest demanding our marriage. That wasn't there that day. If it hadn't been, maybe a whole restaurant would have seen him kill Kennedy. Look at the pyramid above that building. It's been erected since, but it's a direct line with the center of the bridge and Elm Street. Which in the case of the pyramids, folks, very seldom ever an accident where they're placed. It's looking directly up Main Street. That's the route Kennedy should have traveled. That would have been a good position to fire at Kennedy on Elm Street. So would the building to the left. But the building behind which is the pyramid would have been an even better spot because it's a direct line. The best place for from assassinal stand, he's using a rifle, is directly in front of the person he wants to kill or directly behind. Behind is the worst. Since the target is going away, it's getting smaller in the scope. If you're in front, as the target comes toward you, it gets larger in the scope. If you're on the side, the target's going by you so fast looking through a scope, you'll probably be lucky if you even see the target, much less get the crosshairs on it at that close of a distance to the grassy knoll. Next best to directly in front or in back would be an oblique angle. John F. Kennedy was putting a severe kink in the New World Order. In fact, I think if he'd lived, he may have been able to stop it in his tracks. He certainly would have saved the United States from slavery just by the printing of United States notes instead of Federal Reserve bills. Your eyes on the driver. This is the real speed of the motorcade. On most films that you see, it's speeded up much faster than this. Watch the driver, folks. Don't look at Kennedy, watch the driver. You'll see it again. Watch the driver. Right after the driver turns around and appears to shoot Kennedy in the head, watch the right front windshield. This is the first time anybody in the world has seen the whole film with no footage missing. Every frame is in this, except for right here, where it stops and starts. Pardon?
This is also the wide-angle view. It's not zoomed in like most of the television
That's
productions
correct.
are.
At 1/4 speed. That's the place, that's the only break in the film. It's not missing frames, it's where Zapruder turned it off and then started it again. Some of you who have good eyes and quick minds will see all kinds of things that were never shown to you before. The passenger turns all the way around, sees the Kennedys not dead. He turns around and grins and says, "Hey man, he's not dead. What are we going to do now?" And that's what they did then. Go through the front windshield. Now Jackie's not grabbing brains off the back of the car, there's nothing back there. Absolutely nothing. We put this on the computer, blown it up, examined it pixel by pixel. There's no wound to the back of Kennedy's head. We've examined it pixel by pixel. His hair is even messed up on the back of his head. It was hit by an exploding shell which blew the whole right front of his head up. Look at the car. Stopped, blocking the motorcade underneath. the overpass, and it doesn't move until Kennedy's limousine almost runs into it. That was to make sure that he didn't escape without being thoroughly creamed.
How many shots are you saying? Was it just one shot from the driver?
There were shots all over the place. You'll see. Just be patient, folks.
Sorry.
There's also a sound version. The sound.
There's what appears to be a man in a hat holding a rifle in the bushes. Although I must tell you, it could be just the play of light and leaves. No one knows. There's no way to know unless somebody wants to come forward to confess it. On the computer, we can't even tell. If anything, it looks more like the play of light and leaves than a real man with a rifle. Now, this is the front seat of the car. You're going to see some remarkable things here. Move it up, focus on the front seat to see what these guys are doing. And you see that Kellerman, the passenger, is turned around looking at Kennedy. And you'll see that something has happened to the windshield. It's been brushed. You can also see a bullet hit the top of the chrome. In fact, we just did the last two frames. The top of the chrome in the center of the windshield was hit by a bullet, or what appeared to be a bullet. See, Greer is also looking at the president. Greer right there, looking directly back. Now, if you know anything about the training of people who drive cars for important people, he was supposed to have his foot through the floorboard, getting that limousine out of there, not looking around. Kellerman, the passenger, is now beginning to talk. They're talking right now with each other. He's going to lean forward and take the wheel with his left hand, the Kellerman wheel, the passenger. Now notice also that Kellerman's head is in the shade, but he has a big reflection on the top of his head, which is impossible to have because there's no sunlight hitting his head there. And on the computer, we found that they've literally scraped the emulsion off the film to hide what it is that's happening in the front seat. They brushed over the window, and they brushed all in here. And when they show it to the public, it's usually in black and white, and usually at the fatal moment, they zoom in on Kennedy. They don't show you the rest of the car. Look at this. They've scraped off the emulsion even into Kellerman's forehead. They've scraped off the emulsion all the way up into here to hide whatever it is that Greer's got in his hand and is doing. You see that? See how the emulsion's been removed? These are not reflections, folks. You'll see it even better here. Now, either William Greer, the driver of Kennedy's limousine, turned around and shot the president in the head, just like it said in top-secret documents that I saw when I was in the Office of Naval Intelligence, and just like it said in documents that Linda Howell was shown at the AFOSI building at Kirtland Air Force Base, or someone has literally scraped the emulsion off the film to make it look like that way. To take our eye maybe away from something else in the car. And what could that something else be? Could be that this is easily debunked and draws your eye away. It could be that this is really a gun in William Greer's hand and he's really shooting the president because for this entire time he is looking directly at the president as if he's aiming a weapon. But if you look here, you'll see that there's an arm with something in it, something in the hand coming across the back of the seat. Now this is not a reflection on Kellerman's head. It's above Kellerman's head. This is not a reflection. A reflection on a dark suit cannot ever be as bright as or brighter than reflections on glass and chrome, and this is, which indicates that the emulsion has been removed from the film. How do I know this? Because I have a degree in photography, and what you're seeing is a videotape made from an original first-generation copy of the Zapruder film, which is in the vault of the intelligence community on 35 millimeter film. See the bullet hit the chrome right there? See the splatter? There's also a dent in the chrome on the top of the windshield. I have no idea. Please save your questions for the panel if there's going to be one. We don't have much time, it probably won't be. Now they're both ducking down. You can see something going on with their hands in the front seat, like they're exchanging something. But you can't really tell because it's all been scraped off. See, there's no little sunlight down there. Those aren't reflections. Watch right here, folks. See that? See all this? Falling down, whatever it is. It appears that a bullet went through the right front side of the windshield. But when you really begin to understand how much this film has been doctored to deceive us, you'll understand that this film is no longer useful for anything except to prove that there definitely was a conspiracy because the film has been doctored to hide what really happened from the public. And nobody's ever known that before. And nobody's ever told us, including all these so-called photo experts, who have been helping conceal the facts. This is not supposed to be in public hands. It took us years, a lot of work, a lot of money, and nurturing a lot of contacts to get it. Now you see what really happens to Kennedy's head.
Flash photographs of screens.
That's the projector. See that? It hit him on the front of the head and exploded. It didn't act like a normal bullet.
Like a mini bazooka.
And you can see all the spray went up and back. And you can see that the whole right front of his head is laid open. And there is nothing on the back of his head. No head missing, no hair missing. The hair isn't even messed up. They've been feeding us nothing but lies. And There you can see where they've doctored the film to hide a hand and something and an arm. See the cuff? Now here's Conley's arm right here. Now remember, you're seeing these frames for a long time. If we ran it at the normal speed, you wouldn't even have time to notice anything in these frames. Nothing at all. Look at that. All the emulsion is scraped off the film. This is flesh and blood and bone. And it is brighter than the reflections on the chrome. Impossible. Cannot happen. Even on a computer, you can't find pixels with red in it. Which means they literally scraped his whole face right off the film. We will never know from the Zapruder film what really happened, except one thing is absolutely positive. For the first time in history, we can prove conspiracy. And it can only been done by two groups. Either the National Photographic Laboratory and the intelligence community in Washington, D.C., who took the film from Abraham Zapruder, or Time Life, who purchased it from Abraham Zapruder. And whoever did it was also guilty of the murder, because conspiracy says that any member of a conspiratorial group is just as guilty as the man who pulled the trigger. That's the law in my country. Look at that. Here's her head in the sun. You can see detail in the hair. They've been screwing with us all these years. I know that you probably don't feel or not as affected as much as I am by it. But all people in the world should be affected by it in some way.
What will you do with the convict?
I'm sorry.
What will you do with this convict?
This copy? Yes, I'll take that. He was trying to get out of the car. I don't understand what you said. I'm not a psychic. All I can do is show you what I have. I can't read the minds of anybody or the actions of bullets or pigeons or anything else. You see, there's nothing on the back of that car. The bumps that you see are normal. They're supposed to be there. They're part of the car. All this rumor and conjecture and stories that she was trying to get a piece of John F. Kennedy's skull, and I think that was perpetrated by Bob Groder, is a lie.
Why is there no blood on her coat after exploding his head?
Oh, there's blood all over her dress. You put it on the computer, you can see the... See, we look at it pixel by pixel. Very simple. Go get another copy of the film that I've never touched in my life and look at it.
And I have a copy from the BBC with sound, and I can tell you that's very doctor.
Demand the original film. I've never touched it. I don't have it. Oh, stop asking me how. I can't do everything for the whole world. It's your turn. It's your turn.
What's happened to the driver subsequently?
Driver was abducted. Oh, today, you mean? According to the records, he died in 1985. However, that names of government agents on a death certificate, and a new ID card, and a quick move. So we don't really know if he's really dead or if they've just quietly transferred him to some island in the Bahamas and given him a bag of bottles of gin.
The guy sitting next to the driver.
He's dead also, according to the record.
Very good.
People involved in things like this in the United States government usually don't live long.
Do you suspect that Connolly knew this already?
Except for G. Gordon Liddy, he never talked.
G. Gordon Liddy.
Was shot by one of the drivers of the car, and it looks like that might be possible.
It appears that the driver turned and shot him at point-blank range in the head. Now, the reason I went on this search is when I was in the Office of Naval Intelligence, I saw documents that stated that the driver was the one who shot Kennedy.
The whole puzzles me is why Jacqueline Kennedy must have seen that.
Yes, that's why she tried to get out of the car. If you're in a car and somebody just shoots your husband and you saw it, will you get out? That's what she did.
Who are the other two people in the car behind the driver?
Nobody's ever shown you this car either, have you?
That was Governor Connolly.
Folks, you've got to start to learn to put two and two together. Now, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm not insinuating anything, but you've got to learn to think. Seriously. The Secret Service just shot her husband, who had her children. Where were her children? I don't know. See the back of the car, folks? The same things on the back of the car there that there was when he was shot. Now you'll see that that's definitely not a reflection on the top of Kellerman's head. We put it on a computer, we found his whole head, and we drew a line around it. And you're going to see it. And you'll be able to see also. You can also see flesh on Greer's face between what appears to be a gun barrel and the top of Kellerman's head. So the old argument that people say, Bill Cooper's crazy because that's a reflection on the top of Kellerman's head, don't hold water anymore. That's where Greer's shoulder really is by computer analysis. And you can see that they've scraped away his whole shoulder even up into the grass area so that you can't tell that he's turned that far around in the seat. That's the top of Kellerman's head. Now, if that's a reflection, that's the best Brill cream job I've ever seen in my life. There were witnesses who said they saw the driver turn and shoot Kennedy. They're dead. Yeah. Okay, folks, I wish I could let you see the rest of this because there's a lot more important stuff on here, but time has run out. You're the first people in the world who have seen this and now know this. Please do something about it. Please help us. Thank you. God bless you, and good night.
Well, can you get me the number, please? We'd like to close up now. I would like to apologise on the behalf of
This is very heavy. It's the film shot by the Dallas dress manufacturer Abraham Zapruder, and it's the execution of President Kennedy.
On the sign, the president is waving to the crowd. When he comes out from behind the sign, he is shot. Then Governor Connolly is shot.
He's already been hit.
He's already been hit.
And now,
At the bottom of the screen, the headshot.
that's the shot that blew off his head. It's the most horrifying thing I've ever